So, friends, I'm really grateful to Professor Saxena for accepting our persistent demand to find some time on his way from Jamshedpur to Ranchi Airport and come to our institute. And we pressed him very hard because he has been a master of transformation, the kind of transformation that we see in our institution. And I will not steal his thunder. I think it's best that he expresses what he accomplished both at Georgia Tech, under what circumstances, what were the initial conditions, what you had to do. Right? So I had the privilege of spending an hour yesterday walking with him and learned a little bit about the things that he has done, and I think we can learn a lot from him. So I'm not introducing you. It's best that you introduce yourself, but I should mention that he did his BTech from IIT Kanpur in mechanical engineering, and this was when IIT Kanpur was #1 among all the IITs. There was, I think, no doubt about it then. Of course, IIT Kanpur is not what it used to be after Professor Saxena left. So, he did his BTech from there. I don't know where you did your PhD.
At Cincinnati.
At Cincinnati, right. So he went to USA. Those a lot of people from IITs, right, including one like me. Those who did well, they went for higher studies to USA, right? So he did his PhD at UC Cincinnati. Then you joined Georgia Tech.
Actually, I would say something.
Okay. So I think from here onwards, he will introduce himself in whatever detail he chooses. But he was at Georgia Tech, right? And he was the head of Department of Material Science with the mandate of bringing that department, which was a laggard among other departments in engineering school, right, up to the par. And then he had a very daunting task of transforming University of Arkansas, right, which is supposed to be in the hillbilly country in USA, right, and bringing it to recognized engineering school in USA. So over to Professor Saxena, right, and you are most welcome.
I think this will work. Well, good afternoon, everybody. And I'm sure on a Friday afternoon you have better things to do than to listen to somebody. But I'm very grateful that you've taken some time out of your busy schedule to come and share this 1 hour with me. As Dr. Mishra said, my name is Ashok Saxena, and I did my BTech from IIT Kanpur in mechanical engineering, graduating in 1970. So now you can add the years. I turned 70.
So young compared to me.
Well, I turned 70 last August. But I've had a fascinating journey. Finished my PhD in about 3.5 years, master's and PhD. Made a change from mechanical engineering to material science and metallurgical engineering. And then I joined Westinghouse Research Labs in Pittsburgh for about 10 years. And was doing industrial research. But that was a very fundamental research lab. That was a corporate research lab. So we had opportunity to do fundamental engineering research also. And then I was attending a conference in Los Angeles, giving a keynote lecture, and the department head of Georgia Institute of Technology was sitting among the crowd, and he came up to me and he said, would you consider coming to Georgia Tech? And I was 35 years old. I said, well, it won't be that easy for me to move, but what do you have in mind? He said, anything you want. So I joined Georgia Tech as a full pleasure. Did not have to go through the grunt. And they gave me some grants to get me started. And the reason I'm telling you this is basically, how U.S. management sets people up for success. They were looking at me as a successful researcher, and they wanted to raise the research profile. Basically, in 1971, the Dean of Engineering at Stanford University, came to Georgia Tech as the president of the university. And he made the determination that he was going to take Georgia Tech and turn it into a world-class research institution. And at that time, it was very well known for a good undergraduate education, but not that well known for research. So it took him a long time, and I came along in 1985. And even at that time, if you brought in $50,000, $60,000 a year in research money, you were considered a hero, you would get tenure, and everything was fine. By the time I left in 2003, if you brought in even $500,000 in research, that was not enough, unless you had a lot to show for it. So this is the transformation that we went through. And just to give you a little more detail of what Dr. Mishra was talking about, material science and engineering at Georgia Tech was a small department. It had good people, good research and everything, but it was not ranked highly among the other material science and engineering department. In fact, we were ranked somewhere about 30. And but in 1992, by 1992, most of the major departments were already in the top 10. So there was a lot of pressure. In fact, a new dean came, and first thing he did was he made a change at the department headship level. And he looked nationally for finding somebody. And there were 55 people that applied for the job, including myself. And ultimately he came to me and he offered me the job and said two things. One, I want a 10-year commitment. I don't want you to just be in your position for 5 years and be looking for a dean's job for 2-3 years. I want a 10-year commitment. And you have to bring this department to the top 10 material science and engineering departments. Now, material science is a very research-oriented field. So in mechanical engineering and civil engineering, you can go to top 10 by teaching and doing some consulting and doing some engineering projects. But in material science, it has to be hardcore science-based research. And he also said that we will support you in every way possible. You can go out and hire 5 people now. And then as vacancies develop and as more money comes in, you can increase the strength of your department from 12 faculty members to 25. You can double that. But do it in a way that you're meeting that goal. So I was in that role for 10 years, and we created a strategic plan, we created goals for ourselves. And then we also, as we went along, we measured our progress. And one thing I realized is that rankings are very perceptual. So it's not what you think about yourself, it's what others think of you. So I joined this council called the University Materials Council, which was basically the head of the departments for about 105 materials programs in the US and Canada. In the very first meeting that I went to, I realized that in order for others to perceive us to be good, I have to do something, and I have to become the president of this council. And it took, and then only people will notice. And the other thing is that these department heads are the ones who are voting in the US News and World Report survey. So I need to invite each one of them to come to our department, see what it is, meet our students, see our facilities, and then they will start changing opinions. So I did that, and I did become president of that council. It took me 7 years to get there. So in the last 2 years that I was department head, I was president of that council. And suddenly, every year, our rankings kept moving by 3. And by the time I finished, we were at number 11. But that's not the important number. The important thing is the transformation that occurred during that process. And I would say that leaders come and go. I was there for 10 years. It was 15 years ago that I gave up that position, or maybe 16 years ago now. So during those 16 years, that department has gone from number 11 to number 3 in the country now. So that is on the strength of the faculty and the leadership. If the leadership comes, they see good things are happening, they do more of it. And I'm very also equally proud of my two successors. The person who came after me came from Ohio State, a gentleman by the name Robert Snyder. And he did a great job for 10 years. Then he had cancer and passed away. So the current department head is Dr. Naresh Sadani. You're going to Georgia Tech. I would want you to meet with him and see the journey. And Naresh has done a great job of taking it even further. So once the journey begins, then and people are empowered. Now, to become department head, you need the acceptance of the faculty. So nobody can become department head because the dean thinks that this is a good person. They have to come through the faculty. And they form committees and they recommend 3 names to the dean, and then the dean picks one. So that empowerment allows them to pick the right person to be their leader. And that is how transformations occur. So after my time at Georgia Tech, 10 years, my dean who hired me at Georgia Tech as a department head went to University of Arkansas to become the chancellor of the university. And there he was lucky enough to convince Sam Walton's family. Sam Walton was the starter of Walmart, and they're the owners of Walmart. They have headquarters in the same area that we live in. And so Jim Walton was his son, and he said that he gave him a gift of $350 million cash, and said,